election has been tainted.
Yes.
Your election has been bought. Your election should then be overturned, and you are the people to do that. Thad Cochran has been in office for over 36 years. Far too long. And I've come to tell you this, that there is a message that you need to send. And let me share a way to allow you to share it with people of color. You need to share it in this way, because it was people of color, Democrats, and people of color who he reached out to in order to taint this election. He lied to them. He lied on you.
Yes.
He told falsehoods about people who are the salt of the earth. Every one of us, regardless of if your ancestors came to these shores on the Mayflower, or whether they came here in the hulls of slave ships like mine, what we prove here today on the steps of the state capitol of Mississippi is that it does not matter how your ancestors came to these shores, but in the DNA of every true American is a thirst for liberty and freedom, and friends, that must never go away. We're all the children of runaway slaves. Yes. Some fleeing the tyranny of English kings, some fleeing the tyranny of Latin despots, some fleeing the tyranny of the plantation. All of us out here today are the sons of runaway slaves. But we have come to share this message. If we could speak to the Benjamin Franklins, the Jeffersons, the Hancocks, the John Adams in times past, if we could reach back through the annals of history and speak to those founding fathers, we would be able to say to them today from the state of Mississippi that we have held the republic, and we will hold the republic with whatever is necessary for us to hold it. We will hold it. My friends, in 1988, there was a movie made in this state called The Mississippi Burning. Today, obviously, there are ghosts that are trying to frighten some people into not voting. They try to smear you with racist commentary. They try to smear you with the ghost of the past. I come to bring this message to one and all, that I believe that the healing for our entire nation will come from the South. It will come from Mississippi. It will come from Louisiana. It will come from Alabama. It will come from Georgia. And the reason I believe it will come from the South is because we as Southerners, regardless of if we're black or if we're white, we have a common relationship with one another. Amen. Southerners, unlike any other group of people in this country, we have this certain nuance between us. Doesn't matter if you're black or if you're white. If I say to any of you here today, hey, y'all, after all of this is over, let's go get us some cornbread and black-eyed peas with a little fat pack. Everybody here will know what I'm talking about. You can't go to Chicago and say those things. You can't go to New York and say those things. I say to everybody here, we're going to have a great time with grits and bacon. Everybody here knows what we're talking about. Because we are Southerners. We eat the same foods. We believe God basically the same. We love the outdoors. We love to hunt. We love to fish. We're Southerners. But unfortunately, there are places across this country who look at us and think somehow that we are less than. They look at us because of the way we may speak in our slow, deliberate way, because of our laid-back attitude. There's no sense in being in a hurry. Let's take our time. Because we are Southerners, they think that what we're doing here in response to Thad Cochran stealing this election is something we're doing because of race. No. We are doing this because it was wrong, and we have the courage to stand up. It was wrong. Let's examine why it was wrong. Particularly, we're talking about how they used black folks because they were used. Black folks have been angry for over 60 years because of lack of jobs. And in Mississippi, which is one of the poorest states in this union, when we look at how Thad Cochran has been in office for over 36 years, I need to send this message to black people. You were angry when he was elected, and you're still angry now.
Yes,
Why in the world would you continue to support somebody who has not answered the anger? Why would you continue to do that? That's not intelligent. That doesn't make sense. It's at least time to try something different. Let me say this, folks. The only common denominator that you have between the time that Thad Cochran was elected in 1978 and today is that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So, my fellow conservatives, my fellow Southerners, Mississippians, I'm just next door in Louisiana. So we have a lot in common as far as our history is concerned. But friends, you must carry this message to the church houses. You must carry this message past the state houses. And this must be your battle cry from this point on. You must tell every elected official that if they will not stand with us to defend the Constitution of the United States, then they need to pack their bags and get out of their state houses. Get out of national houses. Get out of D.C. That is the message that you must carry with you. To those of you who are in churches where your pastor will not stand up and speak out against the Caesars of this world, if your pastor will not stand out and speak against the immoralities that are going on because of progressive liberal policies, if your pastor does not speak out against the vote that has been tainted, then I encourage you to find yourself another pastor, because this country was founded with pastors and leaders who had the courage to inspire a nation. We are here today in perilous times in this country. And because a vote like this can be tainted, because a vote can be stolen under the nose of the people, using scare tactics, it tells us something. It tells us that we have been asleep. We've been asleep while the enemy has been sowing seeds of discord all up and down our political landscape. I love the idea of Ronald Reagan, and I love the ideas that he had of American exceptionalism. And friends, the reason we must band together and run the jackals and the weasels out of office is because we need somebody once again who will restore American swagger in our stride and American pride in our nation across the world. Americans must hold their heads up high once again in this world. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. And there is nothing wrong with us being proud of who we are. Americans must hold their heads up wherever we go. And now, friends, you have several other speakers here today, and I simply came to inspire them to reach toward their better selves. I came to inspire you not to give up this fight. I came to encourage you to pass the legacy of our nation on to our children. We haven't done the best job of that. We must pass it on. There was a time that what we taught in school or what we taught at home was taught in our schools, and then it was echoed in our churches. I'll say it again. There was a time that what we taught at home, we could depend on that being taught in our schools. And then we heard it on Sunday in our churches. We can't depend on that anymore. What we teach our children at home, I can assure you it's being undermined at school. And the reason so many pastors never invite me back to preach at their churches is because so many times what we teach them at home, they're not even teaching it in church anymore. Our country, Mississippi, is a place where freedom works. I am a fellow with Freedom Works in Washington, D.C., and our president and CEO, Matt Kibbe, has these words to say. He says, sometimes to defeat the Democrats, we must first defeat the Republicans.
Yes.
Friends, unfortunately, that seems to be the case for us now. that in order to defeat the Democrats, we're going to have to defeat some Republicans. As I leave you today, I will encourage you, don't you ever let them see you run. Don't you ever let them see you quit this fight. And there is a question that all of us must continue to answer from this day forward if the Republic is to survive. And that question is, are there any patriots out there today? Is there anybody out there who will stand up to God and country, stand up for the Constitution, stand up for America? Then patriots, stand up, stand up, stand up. God bless you. God keep you. God bless America.